see about that. So Jerry Jones yesterday was talking about this, and as only Jerry can, he said a fascinating thing. This is how he spun the disaster that was on Sunday into a positive place after they lost to the Saints.
If we've got any albatross around our neck, is that we've been a good to very good team during the season over the last 4 or 5 years with Mike, and we haven't done well in the playoff. So let's trade some challenges during the season for doing well in the playoff, if you want to look at it that way. This doesn't call for a change in the system. It doesn't call for a change in the player as much as it does take what we've learned Sunday. But we can do this, and we can do it with the personnel that we've got out there right now.
Okay, I'm going to let this clip play, but I just got to say, that's not what's happening with the Dallas Cowboys. What's happening, it's not that they play great during the regular season and then come time playoffs, they just don't. No, even during the regular season, they don't play great against other great teams. They have a losing record against winning record teams. And Dak Prescott's stats plummet, right? Like, he looks awful, and he feasts on the bad teams. So that's what happens when you get to the playoffs. The reason why you're not looking so good is because you're playing better teams. So if you play a better team during the regular season and you're still losing, it's not that you're just magically trading, well, we're going to have a couple bad games during the regular season, which will then save us in the playoffs. It doesn't even make sense. Not to mention, even during the regular season last year, especially, you got rocked. Once or twice, especially against the 49ers. So, and that didn't help you face the Packers in the playoffs. Not at all. So it's just that logic, it doesn't make any sense. It makes essentially zero sense.
Okay, so two things. First of all, the more times I hear him say that first part, the more I love it. That is so next level. This was actually a good thing, guys.
Yeah.
We were bad in the playoffs and good in the regular season, so let's switch it around and be bad in the regular season. That's next level genius. But the second part, now, this time, I focused on the second part of that. This does not call for any changes, any personnel changes. Is that right? Do they have the personnel to be able to fix what has been their problem in their last 2 games?
Whether they do or don't, it doesn't really matter because there's nobody they can get. If there were run stuffers available, they would have gotten those contracts already. So, he has to say that. And he has to say that the solution is in the room. Based on what I saw, it didn't feel like the solution was already in their building. The way that these guys were getting pushed around and not able to set an edge on these outside zone runs, which all the teams in the league, the best teams in the league, run the outside zone. If you can't set the edge and you can't get knocked back, you're going to get beat.
I mean, Jeff, I usually ask you to explain things like this to me. No one needs this explained to them. But you see these white jerseys just falling backwards on every one of these plays.
Yeah, your issue is that defensive linemen are getting knocked back to linebacker level, linebackers knocked back to safety level. That is a massive problem. Yeah. And the other issue is we're gonna crush Zimmer right now. But Dan Quinn was there the last time it happened. This is not a new, and whether it was the 49ers last year, whether it was Green Bay, and now Clint Kubiak doing it with the Saints, it's a very similar formula. Set them in motions, outset them with shifts and formation changes, and then allow them to go play. The problem is you don't have the dudes. The dudes in the middle of this defense have to step up. And whether it's Zimmer coaching them or Dan Quinn coaching them, at some point it has to be a personal, let's make this happen up front to allow our players to make plays. It can't just be about scheme.
Yeah. So listen, here is my whole philosophy and thesis on the Dallas Cowboys. And it's made a lot of Cowboys fans angry. I'm sorry. I'd be as honest as I can. The Cowboys last year, this is what I've been saying for months and months. The Cowboys were not good enough last year. The fans love to hang their hat on winning, those 12 games or whatever. But they were clearly not good enough. When they played good teams, they did not win. They did not look good. It's just a reality. And when the teams that were truly playoff bound, like the 49ers, like the Packers, they looked like they were in a completely different class than the Cowboys. And now you go into this season and you say, we're not going to change anything. We're not going to improve. We're not going to make concrete moves to get better. We're pretty much just going to run it back, and actually we're going to switch out defensive coaches and just hope for the best. And we'll get Ezekiel Elliott, and that'll change something. And we'll have some like weird contract disputes over the offseason. And that's now how going to somehow make you better than you have been for the last few years. And it does not make sense. I understand Dallas Cowboys aren't going to like this example, and I understand. Now, I'm not doing it on purpose. It's just the best example, especially because it doesn't matter whether it's right or wrong. The Philadelphia Eagles realized they were not good enough. And so what did they do? They made choices. They went out and got Saquon Barkley. They went out and got Dotson. They went out and got another coordinator. Now, again, Cowboys fans, don't get lost in the example and be like, yeah, well, how that's working out for them, blah, blah, blah. That's not the point. The point is that they figured out some problems, came up with a plan, and are actively trying to solve it. Okay? And I think they are solving it, quite frankly. But they are at least actively trying something. Please point to me in the direction what the Cowboys are doing to solve their problems, to actually improve and grow. What are they doing to support Dak Prescott? You just paid Dak Prescott $1 trillion. What are they doing to support him, to make him a better quarterback, to have him take his game to the next level? Did they go out and get other true weapons? You don't think the Dallas Cowboys would look better with Saquon Barkley? You don't think they would? Maybe make a move for T. Higgins or someone? Like, I mean, you don't think that they would be better off if they went out and did something? Of course they would. Maybe get a new coach, whatever it may be. Trying to get Harbaugh. Take a chance at Ben Johnson. Like, something, anything. And they don't do that. That's why I don't understand why Cowboys fans will get mad at me. Because it's like, I'm pleading, like, don't you want your team to be better? Don't you want to be better? Like, you're okay with just, like, getting a bunch of regular season wins? And sure, you compete with the Eagles for the division, and it's fun. You get to beat them, and they beat you, and yada, yada, yada. But, like, don't you want to go to NFC championship games? Don't you want to compete for Super Bowls? Like, I don't understand how you could be remotely satisfied with, like, the last decade. We don't even have to go much farther than that, even though, as I said, they haven't been to an NFC championship game in, like, 30 years. But we could just go back since you got Dak. There's no way that you could be happy with the decisions. There's just, I just don't get it. I really don't. It really doesn't make sense to me. If you believe that Dak Prescott is worth as much money as you just paid him, then get out and make some moves. Why didn't you make a play to get Diggs? You got Diggs and Diggs brothers right there. I mean, like, why? Look what the Texans did. They went out and made moves. They said, look how good we are right now. We got farther than the Dallas Cowboys. And we had way more success. We look better. And you know what? We're going to get even better. We're going to build our defense even more. We're going to get some offensive weapons to support CJ Stroud in that offense. We're going to look to take a step forward. The Eagles, the Cowboys, who did worse than the Texans last year, especially in the playoffs, didn't do anything to get better. And yet they're expecting to be better. It doesn't make sense. Dak Prescott isn't just going to magically elevate his game by 20%. That's just not what happens. CeeDee Lamb can only do so much. Ezekiel Elliott, it's not 2017, 2016, whatever year it was when he came into the league, I forget. Mike McCarthy is a really good coach. He's a competent coach. He's not elite. He's not going to be able to outcoach the big dogs. He's just not. He can't outcoach Matt LaFleur. He can't outcoach Shanahan. He can't outcoach Kevin O'Connell. He can't outcoach Andy Reid. Can he maybe outcoach the Giants? Sure. And the Commanders? Sure. But, like, where is that the standard? Congratulations, you can beat up on the Panthers. It just doesn't make sense to me. It really, really doesn't. And I feel like we're in bizarro world when we talk about the Dallas Cowboys, because we do this every single year. Every single year. They won against the Browns, and they were acting like the Browns were the reigning Super Bowl champions. They did. They just were. And when I tried to point it out, fans got so mad at me. They're like, you're just a Cowboys hater. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Look at all the videos that I've made about all the collection of teams. I've said all very similar statements. Look at who you're playing. Look at who you're beating. I'm really high on the Saints, and I said, all right, you beat the Panthers. We got to relax on that a little bit. It's a great win, exciting, but, like, you know, it was the Panthers. So, and then you get rocked by the Saints, and you just want to toss it up as, nah, it was just an off day. Well, the Cowboys seem to always have an off day against the great teams. And we're not even sure that the Saints are necessarily great just yet. It's looking like that. We're about to find out over the next few weeks. But yeah, I mean, if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, like, what are you thinking about all this? How are you feeling about the Cowboys? Do you truly believe this year? And I want to know, I'm asking this straight up. Do you truly believe that the Dallas Cowboys can actually compete for a Super Bowl this season? And if the answer is no, then what are you doing? What do you want? What moves do you want to be made? Because right or wrong, I know the Philadelphia Eagles feel that they can get to a Super Bowl, win a Super Bowl. I mean, they did it a couple years ago. So that's not, again, I know Cowboys fans are going to hate the Eagles, but like that's a real thing. And we know the 49ers believe that they can get to a Super Bowl. We know the Chiefs believe it. We know the Bills, the Ravens, the Bengals, right? Like a lot of these teams and players and fan bases feel, and the Texans, and the Packers, and the Lions. You know, all these teams that have had true playoff success, that have truly looked good to great to elite when it matters most. You can see why those fan bases have true optimism, true excitement, true belief in their team. And I'm curious, do you Dallas Cowboys fans have that same level of belief? And why or why not? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you a part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.